Hi there, and welcome to the Esri UK how-to video series. My name is Matteo, and in today's video, I'll be showing you how to create a map series in ArcGIS Pro. You can use map series if you quickly want to create batches of maps that display uniform information that is specific to your attributes, or for your bookmarks of interest. In today's example, I'm going to be showing you how to do this for the areas of outstanding national beauty in the UK. For ease, I've narrowed it down to the top 10 largest, but the data underneath it looks a bit like this. You can use the Ctrl+T option to quickly access your attribute table. Today, I'm interested in showing readers the name of each of my AOMBs, the date that they were designated, a link out for further information to a website, and the area of each AOMB. I'm also wanting to include information that's going to stay constant throughout each of my maps. So if I double click the top map in my contents pane, I've included some metadata, such as a title and a description of what AOMBs are and how they are designated. My aim now is to create a series of maps really quickly without the need for manual tinkering for each specific map. To do this, I'm going to start with a layout, and you can choose any size that you wish. Map series can be applied to any of these. I'm going to go for A5. First, I'm going to go back to my Insert tab and put my map frame in. The top half of my layout will be used as a map-centric focus. In this insert, users will see a map of each AOMB with information underneath it that is specific to it. To start creating a map series, simply navigate to the map frame button, move to the right, and click Map Series. On this dropdown, the only option we have available to us is spatial because we don't have any bookmarks. What this does is it tells Layout to look at your attribute table and create a map specific to the attribute's extent. And so when we click AOMB's top 10, it's going to be drawing from our layer that we just looked at and creating 10 maps, each of which is focused on the extent of a specific feature. We can also use the name field to specify that each map should be named after the AOMB, and we can also sort the maps if we wish. I'll use by area as an example. And now you can see on the contents pane in the map series option, we have 10 maps, each of which is focused on an AOMB. So for example, the Cotswolds is the largest, whilst the Shropshire Hills at the bottom is the smallest. From here, we can start populating our map with information that we want to include throughout by using the dynamic text option in the graphic and text group of the Insert tab. So for example, if we wanted to add a description that is consistent between every map, we can go to our metadata and click and drag. This information will now be replicated across each of our layouts and won't change. However, if we want to add information that is specific to each of our AOMBs, that is, drawing from our attribute table, we can do this too. Let's scroll down to our map series group and select attribute. This brings up a dialog box where you can then specify which attribute you'd like to map within your layout. As an example, let's select the date that each AOMB was designated. Click OK, and as before, click and drag. And now we can see that the Cotswolds was designated as an AOMB in August 1966, whereas, for example, North Pennines were in June 1988. This information is quickly replicated across all of our maps, but is specific to each of our features. As an example of what you might get to, you can include much more information. So for example, I've included in this final layout coordinates that center on each AOMB, in this case the Cotswolds, a page index if you want readers to know how many maps you have in your series, our descriptive text in our metadata, and also the key facts that we discussed earlier. So the AOMB name, designation date, area, and also a website link. It's really easy to share this information just as any map by printing it or exporting it to your computer. Once you ensure that you have a file location that you're happy with, you can simply click Map Series to have your options. I'd like, in my case, to print all of my maps, and I'd like a separate file for each. So I'm going to stick with the multiple files option. Once we export these, we'll have a series of 10 maps that we can then share as we wish, each of which includes key information that's specific to each A and B, as well as information that remains the same, just in a few minutes. And that's how you can use layouts in ArcGIS Pro to make your life easier. Thank you for listening.